Just let me know when I start. Hi, I'm meteorologist Ross Whitley. Our Viper Live radar out there this morning. We're tracking Tropical Storm Gordon as it continues to approach the Gulf Coast states. We now have a tropical storm warning that expires Sunday at 8:47. So this is going for a while. It'll likely be canceled as we go into tomorrow afternoon or even earlier. We're going to start to see these outer bands approaching the southern points of the area. That's Gulf and Franklin counties first as we get to about the 7-8 o'clock hour, and some showers, some heavier downpours and some gusty winds expected with those outer bands. Let's go through all of the watches and warnings that we have in place so far. Right now we have a tropical storm warning in place, and that is for Tropical Storm Gordon. Now up to 65-mile-per-hour max winds, moving off to the west-northwest at 17 miles per hour. Expected to become a hurricane before making landfall, somewhere around 75 to 80 miles per hour as the most intense winds around the core. Now this storm is rather small, and therefore the major winds are going to be very, very close to the center. Gulfport to Mobile now under a hurricane warning that will expire again sometime on Sunday. Likely will be canceled as we go through the landfall and then beyond going into the afternoon hours. But this is really from Mobile Bay and Pensacola and the Pensacola Bay. Those are the areas that are going to see the highest elevation for storm surge and water heights, thanks to on that east side of the storm. And because of that, there is a storm surge warning as well. A tropical storm warning. The good news about this is that really it's going to be the coastline and the waters that are affected by this the most, because we're going to have a wind pretty much paralleling our coast and then pushing water up into the Pensacola Bay. Not even really Destin going to be dealing much with the storm surge or enhanced high water. We do have a high surf advisory thanks to high elevated waves. We should see the waves anywhere between 3 and 5 feet today, and some enhanced water as far as the tides go as well. So beach erosion going to be a big issue out there, definitely on the western parts of the shore as well. Now, so looking at Tropical Storm Gordon, pretty easy to pick out the circulation there, just about due south of Apalachicola at the moment. Probably about 100 to 200 miles due south. But the outer bands are starting to assemble and move in our direction. That will continue moving off to the west-northwest. And what we're really concerned about is as we go throughout the afternoon and Gordon eventually moves off to our west, we'll have to still deal with the east side of the system. And you can see it is very east loaded. That means that all of the rain and all the precipitation is on the east side of this system. We'll also have to watch for spin-ups with any thunderstorms that do move ashore. I can promise you that we will have at least a few tornado warnings out there for this afternoon. So it's something you need to stay tuned. Even if it's just been kind of breezy and a few showers moving throughout the day, doesn't mean we're completely out of the woods. Taking a look at our future cast here, as we get to about the 6 o'clock hour, we could start to see a couple of showers moving onshore in Apalachicola through Franklin and Gulf counties down to Cape San Blas, Port St. Joe, Indian Pass. That's where we'll see it first. Then we go into the noon hour, and you notice this outer band staying right along the shoreline from Apalachicola back to Panama City and Destin. And pretty easy to see where the center of location or center of rotation is, and that will continue off to the west-northwest toward Mobile, Gulf Shores, and that area. That's where the strongest winds are. So we're going to be well away from the center, but not out of the realm of effects. Still going to see some gusty winds. 25 to 30 miles per hour is possible, definitely in the heavier precip. So when you get underneath those thunderstorms, it helps push the wind aloft down to the surface, and that helps to enhance our wind gusts. So any of the times you see a heavier shower or thunderstorm out there, you can get those gustier winds to mix down to the surface. However, the strongest winds will remain well off to our south and west. Some heavy precipitation out there as well going through this afternoon into this evening. As we get to about the 1, 2, 3 o'clock hour, we'll start to see this transition from just a steady rain to more scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. And these are the thunderstorms. We refer to this as a feeder band because it's feeding into that core density. These feeder bands, you notice that they have these points to them. They'll have quick spin ups or rotations that we'll have to be worried about, and along any of them, going back from Bluntstown, Marianna, even Tallahassee, if we get storms out that far. These will have rotation, and because we already have that curvature to the wind in the atmosphere, you'll get quick tornadoes to spin up on these. They're usually shallow, which means they're hard to see on the radar. They're hard to be warned, and most of the time with these tropical systems, they're usually a tornado on the ground before they're warned. So if you do happen to have a tornado warning today at any point in time, make sure you act as if it is about to hit immediately, because it may very well be about to hit immediately. They're usually very short-lived and weak, usually. That doesn't mean you can't get a strong tornado out of these tropical systems, but just by the nature of them, typically weak and short-lived, but quick acting. So they form very quickly, they dissipate very quickly. Make sure you pay attention to your watches and warnings as we go throughout the day. Today will likely be issued either under a tornado watch or severe thunderstorm watch as we go throughout this afternoon. And then going into the overnight hours, we'll still have to watch out for these feeder band showers and thunderstorms rotating into the storm along the shoreline and even inland. But you notice from Dothan to Tallahassee back up to Albany, not much rain. This is really going to be a south of I-10 and really south and west of I-10 kind of storm. So coastal areas will get a much bigger impact than those inland areas. Then throughout the day on Wednesday, scattered showers and thunderstorms relatively all throughout the area from Destin back to Panama City and Apalachicola. Again, really the coastal areas. By Wednesday afternoon, we're going to be clear of this thing. Weather will rapidly be improving. Our rainfall totals can be impressive, though, because we'll have these training bands over the same areas. Apalachicola, 2 to 5 inches of rain is definitely possible. Same with Panama City and Destin. It is possible that we will see some places get upwards 5-6 inches of rain in local spots. However, you notice there is a sharp decline in rainfall totals as you go off to the north and west. So the further south this storm goes, the further this shield gets shifted off to the south and west. The further north this storm goes, the further this goes inland. So the specific location of the heaviest rain will really depend on the exact track of this storm. But of course, we'll keep you up to date as we go throughout the day and track the heaviest rainfall and give you all the information that you need. Wind speeds throughout the day today really not going to be a huge issue. We're going to have some places gusting up to 35-40 miles per hour, definitely on the coast. Really, Destin, Pensacola, you're in for the worst. Here in Panama City, likely 25-35 miles per hour are possible, and up to tropical storm strength, which is why we have a tropical storm warning in place, because we are going to have some gusty winds with those heavier precipitation. Notice by noon hour, Apalachicola wind steady around 24, about 20 here in Panama City, and as well as Destin, all the way up to about 30 miles per hour. So you can take those gusts and add about 15 to them. So 45 for gust. Here in Panama City, we could see the gusts going all the way up to about 35 or 40 miles per hour as we go throughout the day today. And then by this evening, you notice things really quieting down to Apalachicola. Still going to be dealing with those feeder bands, but the winds really never much of an issue. And you notice the way these winds are shaped is that's going to be pushing water toward Destin and Pensacola. So really, it's the Pensacola Bay, the Mobile Bay that's going to be seeing the storm surge and that enhanced water. So that water raising up in height. Everywhere else, the water's really not going to be much of an issue aside from the waves, the beach erosion, and of course rip currents, thanks to that longshore flow with our wind direction. So aside from the wind, really outside of Destin and Pensacola, not much of an issue. It's going to be about that severe weather as we go throughout the afternoon today and into tonight. So we're not out of it even when we deal with the heaviest rain and the rain is gone. We're going to be watching for those thunderstorms. Could be producing tornadoes and mixing down that heavier wind. So it's really our biggest issue here is going to be this severe weather. So we have our winds today likely 25 to 40 miles per hour, especially near the coast. 3 to 5 inches of rain near the coastline. And again, the heaviest rain, the shield is really going to depend on the exact track of the system. The further north the system makes it to our coastline, the higher amounts of rainfall totals we will see, and the further inland they will go. As far as storm surge goes, not much of an issue here. Western Panhandle, 2 to 4 feet and higher. And this is basically from Destin points west. Here, not going to be seeing much in the way of storm surge. Our tornado threat is low, but anytime you have tornadoes out there, or we're talking about tornadoes at all, it is something that you want to pay attention to, because it only takes one tornado coming right at you for it to matter. And so when we cut in this afternoon, or if we cut in this afternoon, pay attention, heed those warnings, act as if it is an imminent threat, because likely at that moment in time it will be an imminent threat for those warned. Beach erosion obviously going to be the biggest impact from this storm, because it's going to be making landfall off to our west. So this impact, street flooding, sporadic power outages, really it's the beach erosion, the storm surge, and the flooding off to the west. Most of our areas is going to be dealing with beach erosion thanks to the high waves and the rip currents out there. The water, yeah, it's closed for today. We got double red flags flying, so you can't get in the water anyways. Just stay out, heed those flags. And of course, we'll keep you up to date as we go throughout the day. Myself or Justin will be here, and even Sam coming in to cover this storm for you. So we're here for you throughout the day, and if anything pops up, you will hear it here first.